For this design, we're actually combining two different elements together into one whole. This can be particularly challenging when you're talking about placement because you have to find some way to make the two elements flow together nicely for your painting. So we're going to do a dragonfly with some ivy. Normally, when I paint a dragonfly, I put the wings kind of here across my cheekbone, and then the body is here, and then I just kind of add some sparkle and stuff to it. For this design, I'm going to have ivy coming around the eye, and I felt that that would just be a little bit too much of a clash to have a flow happening this way, and then the sudden body, the body of the dragonfly coming this way. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. I'm going to go ahead and put my dragonfly going this way so that I keep this sort of diagonal flow happening, and it's congruent with the overall design. To begin, we're going to take a sponge and just start sponging some color over the eye to sort of fill this space in, keeping the lighter color in the corner of the eye and the darker color coming back. I don't want to make this too big or go over the brow very much. I'm mostly keeping it confined to the lid and maybe just a little bit out to the corner of the eye. There we are. Okay, we got our color down. Now we're going to start with our ivy leaves. And so I'm going to use my 2/3 angle brush for this. And for the first leaf, I laid down a little bit of a guideline here. So I've got these 3 points on this leaf, and I'm starting at the top point. I'm just dragging the tip of that brush back and wiggling it as I go. I'm going to start with the next point on the leaf, and they're going to meet in the middle in between the 2 points. And you can see the leaf starting to take shape. And I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep wiggling it back, and I'm going to add points as I go. Now the points of these leaves are going to give direction and flow to the overall design. So this one is coming off the corner of my eye. This next one I very deliberately want to have pointing in the direction of my cheekbone. So I took a little more time to make sure that that was the direction this leaf is going. This does take some practice. Okay, next leaf I'm going to have come up. I'm trying to continue a sort of a wreath around the eye. So this one I'm going to have it pointing outwards to sort of give us a direction like it's heading around the eye. And the next one will continue that flow. Okay, so now this one we've got pointing a little bit more to the side, so that as these become stacked together, we've got an overall flow around the eye happening. These are also getting smaller as I continue in the design as well. And I'm just creating a point and then wiggling the brush back. And there we've got some leaves. So starting this dragonfly, I want to leave space where my eye is, because I'm going to want teardrops there. So this is how I do all my dragonflies. I have it. This is a 2/3 inch brush still. Got the darker color loaded on the tip of the brush. And I do a little wiggle and flip it, and then do another little wiggle, and we're going to flip it to complete that top wing, and they meet in the middle there. For the bottom wing, I'm just going to have the dark part at the outside of the wing. There's not going to be a center, like a flip that we do. And then just a real quick V, just with the tip of that brush for the middle of those wings. And for teardrops, I chose a blue to do teardrops because in trying to keep these two designs sort of connected, I'm doing that with the color. I'm doing the dragonfly wings in blue and the leaves are green. So I'm going to do teardrops in blue to sort of incorporate the blue from the dragonfly wings. I don't want to be too heavy-handed. Okay. And then in keeping with that theme, I'm going to take a dark green for the dragonfly body because those leaves are green. So now we've got green continuing in this design down into the dragonfly part of it. So it kind of helps with the overall congruency of the design. In this body, I am kind of angling, pulling so that it's continuing that overall flow. And then with my liner 0 brush and some white, we're going to outline the wings of the dragonfly. I'm just using the very tip of this brush. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. And again, barely pressing on the tip. I'm just going to pull some of these lines in from the outer edge of the wing. And we'll add a little highlight. And next we're going to come up and start filling in the veins on these ivy leaves. So I start by defining kind of the main points of the leaf very lightly with this brush. If you go too heavy, your the veins of the leaf are going to overtake the whole design and it just looks kind of choppy. Okay, so there's kind of all the points more or less. And so then we start, again, very gently with the tip of this brush, just very like pulling little additional little lines out from those main points to give this impression of the veins in the leaf. Sometimes they come out and they fork. And sometimes they just fork directly from the main point that you put down. This is a little faster to do when I'm painting someone in my chair. My hand-eye coordination's slightly better in that scenario. It's okay if some of these lines end up kind of fading or disappearing. You don't really have to go over them. You can a little bit, but it needs to stay really light. And there we are. So now I'm just going to add some glitter This is a really pretty translucent glitter cream that I like. You could outline these leaves with a darker color or maybe a metallic color, but do keep in mind if you're working and you're trying to keep it more on the quick side, you've already spent a lot of time with those veins, and you want to try to limit how much time it takes you to do the design. And it's still really pretty without the outline. Glitter where the teardrops meet. And there's our